I'm David Cardella. I'm joined here today by Ewan Cameron, and we're here to talk to you about the ArcGIS developer subscription and licensing. So thanks for joining us today. We're going to take you through the ArcGIS system from a developer's perspective, so all of ArcGIS. Then we're going to talk about developing your solution and how you get tooling and software, and then considerations for deploying your solution. So let's talk about the ArcGIS system just to set some context, and talk about also the extensibility patterns available to you as a developer. So as a response to many trends that we were seeing in the industry, we recently launched ArcGIS Platform a few weeks ago. ArcGIS Platform is a location platform as a service product, or a PaaS product, and it's designed to bring powerful mapping and location capabilities, both content as well as capabilities, to you, the developer community. And it's designed to give you frictionless access to our location services, our location capabilities. The same location services, actually, that you have quite possibly been working with for some time. So ArcGIS Platform allows you to extend ArcGIS in ways that you're already familiar with. For example, ArcGIS Platform comes with our SaaS offering. That's ArcGIS Online. And it's the ArcGIS platform that you as a developer use and interact with when you extend ArcGIS Online with custom applications. Similarly, ArcGIS Pro works with ArcGIS Platform. So when you extend Pro by building a custom add-in or a custom configuration, oftentimes these customizations are using location services exposed through ArcGIS Platform. So these are just two examples of using ArcGIS Platform as a complement to other components of the ArcGIS system. But Platform can also be used completely independent from the rest of ArcGIS, and it allows you to build completely standalone applications, or perhaps embed location intelligence into your existing apps or solutions. It also allows you to deploy our location services within an organization's infrastructure by leveraging a pattern that we refer to as a system-to-system integration. So as you can see, ArcGIS Platform underpins much of what we do in ArcGIS. At its heart, ArcGIS Platform is made up of three high-level elements. An excellent developer experience to help you be successful by giving you access to mapping libraries that come with ArcGIS Platform, but also allowing you to bring your own mapping library to Platform. So if you've made an investment in another mapping library, you can use that mapping library and simply pivot to our services. We also give you an extensive SDK documentation to help you be successful. Second element is location services. That is, essentially the centerpiece of ArcGIS Platform, and it provides a very comprehensive set of both content and capabilities exposed as those standalone services that you can very easily use in your solutions. And third is the business model that is transparent, it's easy to understand, it's fully consumption-based, and because of all of that, it doesn't get in the way of the work that you're trying to do. So all three of these elements come together to provide a very intuitive developer experience for you to access ArcGIS Platform and the capabilities and content it has available to you. So if we take another look at the developer's view, this one a little bit more detailed, we see that ArcGIS Platform underpins a lot of aspects of ArcGIS. You can use client APIs that we provide, both web as well as native, even game engine plugins, and access the location services exposed through ArcGIS platform. I mentioned we also support popular third-party open source clients like OpenLayers, Leaflet, Mapbox, GL.js is also supported. An ArcGIS platform, in addition to the Pro SDK, which we discussed, also exposes location services to those who are extending ArcGIS Enterprise through the building of SOI, Server Object Interceptors, and Server Object Extensions. ArcGIS platform also plays an important role in scripting and automation and data analyses and map creation through the Python API. So let's take a look at some of these client APIs in a little bit more detail. So you as a developer can build applications. Some of those tightly integrated with ArcGIS, and some of those might be completely independent of ArcGIS. So ArcGIS provides a number of client APIs, including at its base a REST API. I mentioned our JavaScript and runtime. We'll also talk in a little bit more detail about our Maps SDK that integrates powerful location capabilities into game engines. And all of these APIs are architected to take full advantage of the WebGIS pattern. So they take full advantage of the geographic information model that is leveraged well in ArcGIS Online and other aspects of ArcGIS. We also support popular open source client APIs. A couple of these APIs are open sourced by ourselves, specifically our REST.js API as well as our Leaflet plugin, but we also support OpenLayers as well as Mapbox GL.js. And so we've architected the location services exposed through a platform in a way to make these services easily usable and ingestible into those third-party open source clients. Okay, let's talk in a little bit more detail about our web APIs and native SDKs. As I mentioned, at its base or at its heart, we've got location services exposed through REST. So they're RESTful services, and we've got over 25 different service types, and they are categorized into four categories. One are location-based services. These are some of the more commonly used services like vector tiles, viewing data, routing, geocoding. And then we've got more powerful or sophisticated services through, for example, through IoT integration or image analysis. We also have services that allow for the administration of users and groups and items. So can certain data be viewed by individuals or groups? And we've got a set of services that allow for enterprise administration as well. So these REST endpoints allow for the ultimate integration into your solutions. Probably the most commonly used API, well, definitely the most commonly used API we offer is our JavaScript API. It's a modern API. It's 100% TypeScript. It works very well with various JavaScript frameworks and development environments. It allows you to harness the power of modern browsers. So the performance is excellent because we leverage WebGL. We also have client-side engines for local processing of data. The API supports both 2D and 3D visualizations and has a common API for both. So the programming pattern, whether you're working with 2D or 3D, is very similar, so you don't have to relearn or acquaint yourself with a completely different pattern. The API has been designed and engineered with a mobile-first principle. So you can build applications for browsers on a desktop or browsers in mobile devices, and the components that we provide, the APIs that we provide, allow you to adjust and to have your applications be responsive based on the form factor that they're being used on. We've got powerful data-driven visualization, and through the concept of smart mapping, we allow you to turn your data into information where you can see patterns in your data that you couldn't see before. The API has excellent performance via a client-side engine that I just mentioned, and this client-side engine really is a combination of really fast rendering on the client and also efficient delivery of data from the server as well. So it really leverages both of those. We also have support, as I mentioned, for open source web APIs. We have a couple of open source APIs on GitHub that we have built and made available to you and we contribute to. One is a plugin for Leaflet. We call it Esri Leaflet. Another one is the ArcGIS REST.js open source project, and that provides a very thin wrapper, JavaScript wrapper, over some of our REST endpoints. Typically, the REST endpoints that are not involved with visualization and mapping, so it wraps routing and geocoding, etc. But as I mentioned, we also support third-party open source client APIs like OpenLayers, like Mapbox GL.js. And so what do we mean when we say these APIs are supported? Well, for one, we've got excellent documentation on how to use these APIs. For example, in just a few lines of code using GL.js, you can pivot from the services you're currently using to the location services exposed through ArcGIS platform. So certainly excellent SDK documentation. But you can also, if you need additional support, pick up the phone and talk to a support analyst who's specialized in this type of technology. So when we say these APIs are supported, we really do mean that they are supported. And our runtime SDKs. So our runtime SDKs are for app developers building native applications for mobile devices or desktops. We support 5 platforms. We've got Android, iOS, Linux, Windows, and Qt, and 5 APIs that go along with that. And so we've actually put a lot of time and effort and care into supporting all of those platforms and APIs because we want to allow you to select the best development environment for you. Not only from a development perspective in terms of what you would like to develop in, but ultimately it allows you to provide the best experience, the best solution, the most optimal solution for your end users. Like the JavaScript API, all of the runtime SDKs are excellent clients to your GIS, to your web GIS. They can be used to extend ArcGIS or build completely standalone applications. But they're also designed to work with local content that might be on your device. For example, accessing directly files like DTEDs or GeoTIFFs. One of the big advantages of native is its ability to work completely offline. So you can take the data that you normally would have interacted with in a connected manner, completely rip that data off, take it offline, and work with it as if you were connected. And native APIs, native development does have some advantages. It is extremely performant. The technology is very close to the hardware that it runs on, and therefore it fully leverages all the device capabilities of whatever device you're running on. You'll be able to use native APIs to access peripherals. And you'll also have a great debugging experience during the development process. And then another big advantage is the offline capability that I had just mentioned. A new product that we've just released is the Maps SDK. And these are Maps SDK for popular game engines, and we support both Unity as well as Unreal engines. And you may be asking yourself, well, why game engines? Why are we supporting or releasing a product for game engines? And there's a few reasons for this. We are seeing, and we're being asked about from developers and customers, the need for a premium rendering experience that supports GIS workflows or location workflows. And another reason is that by doing this, we can leverage the Unreal and Unity engines in terms of the animation and the special effects that they offer. So it really does bring a premium visualization experience, as you can see from some of these examples, to your solution. So we are delivering. We've delivered this technology as a set of plugins to the development environment, exposed by Unreal as well as Unity. So that's another option for you when you're developing. And we've also got scripting APIs, and this is through our Python API. And the Python API can be used in one of three ways. First is through data science and analytics, which uses scientific methods, tools, and algorithms to solve complex problems, and then creates a data-driven information product that can then be shared, and answers can be disseminated across your organization. That's one way. The other way is for automation. So you can script the automation of, for example, data creation or map creation. You can also use the Python API to perform system administration. For example, in ArcGIS Online, you may want to run a script that sets up data permissions and groups and members of that group. Okay, so those are our client and scripting APIs. We also have extension SDKs, and extension SDKs allow developers to extend or customize existing ArcGIS products or components, and allows you to create very specific workflows. And these SDKs are engineered and designed to allow you to extend the ArcGIS component you're working with. And we've got two SDKs to allow you to do this, one for ArcGIS Pro and one for ArcGIS Enterprise. When it comes to ArcGIS Pro, there are three ways in which you can customize it. You can configure the UI through various settings and workflows through the use of tasks. That's one way. The second way is to automate using geoprocessing as well as Python. And the third way is to extend ArcGIS Pro with your own tools and solutions by using the Pro SDK that we provide. And so this Pro SDK is a framework designed just specifically for that, extending ArcGIS Pro. It's a .NET API, and so it has tight integration with Visual Studio. And there are 4 extensibility patterns that you as a developer can leverage. First is add-ins, and you can develop tools and new functionality that extend Pro, that aren't already in the ribbons that we provide with Pro. You can create managed configurations, so you can brand Pro or make Pro look like your own branded solution and provide a completely different startup experience. You can also streamline the UI, the number of ribbons that are displayed, the tools that are displayed within each ribbon. You can also create plugin data sources that access custom data source formats. And you can also use the SDK to build completely standalone apps that can access a geodatabase and perform geometry access and geometry processes. The Enterprise SDK allows you to extend ArcGIS Pro-based services, so services that have been published through ArcGIS Pro. And it allows you to create server object extensions, SOEs, server object interceptors, SOIs, and we have a Java API as well as a .NET API with tight integration into those applicable IDEs. Okay, so that's a look at what you can do with ArcGIS, and as a developer, all the options and the tooling you have available to you. But what considerations do you need to take into account when you're developing your solution? Well, the first is that you need to get either the API that you need or the software that you're extending. And there's two ways to ultimately do that. You can purchase the software that comes with the API that you would like to use to extend, or you could get an ArcGIS developer subscription. Let's take a look at the subscription in a little bit more detail. The subscription has 5 plans. You see them here, and these plans are tailored to what you want to do. So what do I mean by that? So simply by going to the developer site and signing up and getting a developer account, you have an essentials plan. This gives you access to all of the mapping APIs, the client APIs, the scripting APIs that I spoke of earlier in this session. It also gives you complete access to the set of location services exposed through ArcGIS Platform. So if you want to get access to the APIs and the location services that are exposed through ArcGIS Platform, simply go to the developer site, you sign up, and actually you have an essentials plan. So when would I need to upgrade to one of the other plans? Well, you would need to do that when you want to extend components or parts of ArcGIS in some way. For example, the Builder plan allows you to extend App Studio with custom templates. The Builder plan also comes with a fully featured ArcGIS online organization where you can create users and develop and test your solution against if you're extending ArcGIS Online. So it's an ArcGIS Online org. It's for dev and test only, as all the software is in the developer subscription in any plan. As we move up these plans, each plan contains everything in the plan previous to it. So the Builder plan also contains access to all of the mapping APIs and location services that that you get in the Essentials plan. The Professional plan gives you access to ArcGIS Pro at the basic level, as well as the Pro SDK, so you can customize it, and also the Enterprise SDK and a version of ArcGIS Enterprise Advanced that you can install on premises for dev and test. The Premium plan gives you access to ArcGIS Pro capabilities at the standard level, and the Enterprise plan gives you access to Pro capabilities at the advanced level, as well as some more advanced capabilities in ArcGIS Enterprise. Another nice perk of the Enterprise plan is that it gives you a Dev Summit registration. It includes a Dev Summit registration in it. So that's how you can get at the tooling and software that you need to extend ArcGIS, as well as build completely standalone applications. So let's talk a little bit about what you need to take into consideration when deploying your solution. Well, there are really 3 things that you need to keep in mind. Does your solution use location services and leverage the content and capabilities exposed through the location services of ArcGIS Platform? Also, What mapping libraries are you using, and is there a deployment model associated with those libraries? And thirdly, are you extending ArcGIS? And if so, what product or component of ArcGIS are you extending? So the first is the use of location services, and the business model really depends upon the product you're accessing these location services from. For example, if you go to the developer site, get your developer account, you have access to ArcGIS Platform. The usage of location services through ArcGIS Platform is fully consumption-based. Every service you use has some type of consumption-based, and the currency is US dollars globally. Conversely, if you're using ArcGIS Online, for example, ArcGIS Online is both a consumption-based, when you're accessing credit-based services, but also a subscription-based product. So you will get, for example, unlimited base map usage through ArcGIS Online and the ArcGIS Online organization. You will have some costs incurred for credit-based services, and for private data, you will need to also acquire the appropriate user type with the appropriate permission to access that data. And in the case of ArcGIS Online and Pro, the currency is credits as opposed to $2 in ArcGIS Platform. The second consideration are the mapping libraries. So when using the JavaScript API, for example, you get unlimited no-cost deployments. Same with third-party mapping libraries. That's OpenLayers. It's Mapbox GLJS. When using these client libraries, there's no-cost deployments, as well as no-cost deployments if you're using our open source projects, Esri Leaflet and REST.js. However, when you're using the runtime SDKs, there is a deployment license required. And this license gets delivered in one of two ways. It's either through a named user credential, or it's through a licensed string. And the license that you need is based on the capability that is in your application. For example, Lite is a no-cost license. A license string can be obtained very easily from the developer website once you sign in. And it includes capabilities like viewing data from ArcGIS, whether that's maps, scenes, or layers. It also includes some commonly used capabilities like routing, place finding, and geocoding. And all of these capabilities include accessing this functionality in a connected manner, but also in a completely disconnected manner as well. The basic level it has all the capabilities that we've just discussed in Lite, and it introduces two additional components. It's the editing of private data, as well as navigation. This is different than routing in that navigation has voice guidance, and if your vehicle should go off the optimal route, there is a new route that is automatically generated based on your current location. So that's the basic level, and that's for fee level. So is the standard and advanced levels. They are for fee as well. At standard, you get access to additional data types, direct access to files that might be locally stored on your device, like TIFFs, GeoTIFFs, PNGs, DTEDs, like we discussed earlier. You also have some advanced editing features, like access to the utility network. And the advanced level gives you access to a lot of the extension capabilities that you see in Pro across advanced spatial analysis. There's 3D capabilities you have there, as well as a whole host of other analytic capabilities. So there's well over 300 additional tools that you have available to you in the advanced level. And finally, if you are extending ArcGIS, you need a commercial license, or at least your end user will need a commercial license for the product that you are extending or you are building for. For example, if you're building a custom app that extends ArcGIS Online, your end users will need an ArcGIS Online organization. Otherwise, they won't be able to leverage the capabilities that you've built in your app. Similarly, if you've built in custom add-ins or custom configurations in Pro, your end users will need ArcGIS Pro. And if your extension or your solution accesses additional capabilities in Pro exposed through a Pro extension, your end users will need that Pro extension as well. Similarly, for SOIs and SOEs, your end users are going to need ArcGIS Enterprise so they can deploy those server objects in a container. Okay, so that is the session. I think we've got time for some questions. Thank you for attending, and we'll talk to you soon. Okay, great. Hi there. Good morning, afternoon, and evening. I'm David Cardella. I'm joined here by Ewan Cameron. Ewan, thanks for joining us today. We've had a lot of really great questions come in. So thank you all for joining us today as well. I know that in some of the time zones you're in, it may not be the optimal time. So we do appreciate you making the effort. So let's get right into some of these questions, Ewan. What developer license do I need to use the JavaScript API? Our company has Enterprise, and I would like to customize the widgets. I'm going to answer this question two ways. I assume the question means you have ArcGIS Enterprise. I'll answer it that way, and then I will answer it as if you are meaning that the enterprise plan of the ArcGIS developer subscription. So if you have ArcGIS Enterprise and you do not have a developer account that you've created on the developer site, you simply need to create a no-cost developer account, and you have access to our CDN of the JavaScript API that you can develop against, but you can also download the JavaScript API and host it within your own infrastructure as well. Now, if you have the enterprise plan of the ArcGIS developer subscription, you already have a developer account. You already have access to the technology that I've just described. Oh, I should mention as well that if you see a question that also interests you, I encourage you to give it a thumbs up and vote it up. Ewan and I will go through the questions based on their popularity. The next question, I'm sorry, Ewan, did you have anything to add to that?
No, I don't think so. I think you got everything there.
Okay, great. As usual, Ewan, just jump in and we'll get them all done. What's the difference in licensing an app built with ArcGIS Platform versus or against an app built with ArcGIS Online? This is a really, really good question. Okay, so ArcGIS Online is built really on ArcGIS Platform. It leverages a lot of the services that are exposed through ArcGIS Platform. So ArcGIS Platform powers much of what we do in Online. When you build apps to complement ArcGIS Online, you are leveraging the technology of ArcGIS Platform. So in the session, we talked about ArcGIS Platform being made up of three components: the developer experience, the location services, and the business model. When you build apps for Online, you're leveraging two of the three that represent the technology. You're leveraging the developer experience, you're leveraging the location services. However, the licensing is the same licensing of the product that you're extending or complementing. So in this case, you're using the technology of Platform. However, your licensing of ArcGIS Online, however, you have the licensing of ArcGIS Online, and that remains the same. Okay, Ewan, I'll read out the question. This one looks like it's a good one for you. What are the licensing levels and associated costs for the runtime SDKs?
Yeah, I think, David, you kind of covered that towards the end of the slides, but runtime has 4 levels of licensing, starting at light, and it goes, gives you viewing of content and working with content coming from the platform, and that could be content when you're connected to services, or it could be content that's being delivered to your device through packages or taking a map offline from a service. but you can do all of that with Light, and that's a no-cost license. And then after that, as you go up the license tiers, there's potentially costs associated with it. There's Basic, which really introduces editing to the equation and navigation. And then there's Standard, which introduces access to local content that's not coming directly from ArcGIS platform and another ArcGIS application, like raster files and shape files, etc. And then there's Advanced, and that really brings in advanced analysis. And when you get to these levels of Basic, Standard, Advanced, you can either purchase a deployment license, and these come in packs of 10 or 5, depending on their cost, or you can use a named user to unlock capabilities. So if you've got a named user at a particular level, then that will give you access to the same functionality. So if you are building runtime applications for deployment within organizations that have named users, it's a very, very cost-effective way of deploying apps, because one named user can access many, many applications built with the runtime, and they're bringing their license with them. If you're deploying to users who are not named users, anonymous, then you've got to deploy a license deployment for every application that you deploy. So it's two different ways, 2 different models, but the named user model is definitely very cost effective.
Okay, great. That was a great summary, Ewan. Thank you. Next question. If I want to build oh, that just got voted up. Okay. If I want to build a standalone app with a paywall for some of our customers and integrate the ArcGIS JavaScript API for viewing some of our company's GIS data, what does the licensing look like? Can they get the data without having an ArcGIS license? When does named user accounts come in? Okay, this is a really good question. So currently, the way that you license your private GIS data is through a named user account. And that means that your solution prompts the end user for their credentials. However, you may have noticed that we've got something in beta within the developer subscription. We allow you, from a technical perspective, to host your data using your developer account. That data can be private, and you can use either OAuth or a new authentication mechanism we released with platform API keys to access that private data. What does this mean? This means that you can build a solution where the user perhaps puts in credentials of an authentication mechanism that you have already have, or that you have created yourself. And in your development, you give your app permission to view that private data. Now, this is in beta right now. What does this mean? It means technically you are able to do that. It means that you can use this capability and this pattern in development. It's in beta, so you can't go to production with it. When we do release it out of beta, we will have a business model around it. It'll be a consumption-based business model, much like the other services that you use within your developer subscription. And so there will be one cost for viewing that private data and one cost for editing that private data. So those are the option today, the option that's coming.
Great.
Okay.
David, you've got another question here. When I looked at Esri Developer Subscription Matrix online, I was not able to justify to management why I need an enterprise instead of a professional license. Can you provide a URL or documentation that has more details to help with justification?
Yes, so I can certainly provide a URL. Why don't I summarize it first in three high-level differences? The enterprise, so with the, just to set context for everybody, with the ArcGIS developer subscription, we have 5 plans within that subscription, and those plans are tailored to what you want to do or what you do as a developer. The Essentials plan is the no-cost developer account that you create, does give you access to the services, free tier, and you can enable pay-as-you-go. The other plans, Builder, Professional, Premium, and Enterprise, provide you additional software and tooling to extend GIS. So the 3 main differences between Professional and Enterprise, which is so Professional, the second highest plan, Enterprise, the highest, is this. You get advanced capabilities in ArcGIS Pro. And so we can send you a link on the differences between standard and advanced. So standard is with Professional, advanced is with Enterprise. Also, you get some additional ArcGIS Enterprise capabilities, like the Geo Event Server, the Geo Analytics Server, the Image Server, and the Notebook Server for ArcGIS. You get those with Enterprise. And the third component of Enterprise that you get is a registration to a developer summit of your choice. And so in the environment of in-person events, you'll be able to choose from our event in Palm Springs, our event in DC, as well as our event in Europe. Now, for example, the Palm Springs event, that is a value of approximately $2,000 alone for registration to the Dev Summit for the entire five days. Now that's approximate, but just to give you an idea of the value that you get already included with the enterprise plan. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, and it as a organization, it means that once a year, everything's budgeted in that for your complete experience as a developer with working with ArcGIS. You don't need to keep on going back to get approval to go to a developer summit, registration, and things like that. So it simplifies the process a little bit.
Good point, Ewan. Okay,
Yeah, David, you've got another one. If I have an ArcGIS Pro license and want to develop an add-in for it, do I also need an ArcGIS developer subscription plan to do that?
Excellent question. The answer is no, you don't necessarily need a developer subscription for that. If you've licensed Pro with a user type, that user type is either creator or higher, depending if you have basic, standard, and advanced levels or versions of Pro. That user type allows you to use those credentials, sign into the developer subscription, and access those developer tools. Because with that user type, you have essentially, no pun intended, the Essentials plan. So no, if you want to build an add-in for ArcGIS Pro that may leverage your own private data in your own infrastructure locally, and also mash it up with services, data, and capabilities that expose through ArcGIS platform, you can do that very seamlessly without the need to create an additional developer account if you've licensed Pro through named users.
Yeah, obviously, if you do not have a copy of ArcGIS Pro, it's much cheaper to get a developer subscription, which gives you access to ArcGIS Pro, rather than buying a full ArcGIS Pro license. That's why these software products are included in the developer subscriptions. It gives you a lower cost entry into the technology for development purposes only.
Yeah, excellent point, Ewan. And that starts, inclusion of Pro for development starts at the professional plan. Right. So that's a great point, Ewan. I answered the question as if someone had a commercial license of Pro, but they might not, which is the whole purpose as to why we have those
Great.
Other plans.
Okay, David, here's another one. If a customer does not have Esri and wants ArcGIS Pro, one license, one creator with minimum online storage, what is the entry cost?
Yes, so as we mentioned in the previous response, you can license Pro with a named user. That is a creator user type. You do get online storage. You do get a certain level of free usage of the services. In terms of for cost, it depends on where you are and what country you're in. If you're in a country outside of the US, you'll need to contact your distributor for that cost. So it's different depending on where you are. I don't mean that to be a cop out in terms of answering the actual dollar amount of the software, but it is different depending on where you are.
Yeah, but basically one subscription to ArcGIS Pro gives you everything that you need. It gives you an online account, as well as for storage and access to services, as well as using ArcGIS Pro, the desktop.
Right. And Creator gives you access to the basic capabilities of Pro. There are higher level user types that unlock standard and advanced in addition to what you just said.
Right. Okay. Thanks, David. This
All
one
right.
has just been voted up. If you have an ArcGIS Enterprise and ArcGIS Online subscription, what would the benefit be of also having a developer license?
Should I take that one, Ewan?
Sure.
Well, if you have both of these, Enterprise and ArcGIS Online, you already have a developer subscription at the Essentials level. So you can use your named user credentials from your ArcGIS Online organization, sign into the developer site. You have the same capabilities and developer experience as if someone who signed it or who created a developer account through the site directly. So I would argue that you already actually have a developer license to build and deploy applications.
Right. Yes, and it's the developer license that you have is for building applications that complement ArcGIS Online or ArcGIS Enterprise. It's not for building applications that complement ArcGIS Platform. For that, you would need to sign up for a separate developer account, because it's signing up for that developer account that gives you access to the services and the business model of ArcGIS Platform.